G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Eno here and we're going to go over my game week 2 review for FPL, and hasn't been a good start. Obviously hope things were different this year from the off, but I've missed quite a few hauls, or a couple from Mbommo's been a really good start. Matoma as well. I sort of opted for Pedro as my cover of the attack, and he found his way on the bench in game week 2 after scoring a goal in game week 1. So it was always sort of the risk with Brighton attackers, and Matoma's probably the safest there. So that's somewhat deserved, I believe, really. But the midfield, really, the double United mids, both Arsenal mids, although Saka's really irrelevant, really let me down. And then most people have at least got, one of those 6.5s who have really started well. And, compound that with, starting Timber over Saliba, once the Gabriel news was out, he went down, and then doing sort of an early transfer to Reece James, which, an early transfer, you probably do deserve it in a way, but trying to catch the price fall of Timber, because I did start with 0.5 in the bank to start the year. I obviously, got him in probably about 6 hours before we knew he was going to be out for a few weeks with a hamstring. So that hasn't been a good start. Should have just gone to Saliba, you could say, in that instance, but things just haven't gone my way, and I sit here at 3.4 mil after 2 weeks. A game week rank of 5.5 and only 41 points, and not really a good start. But it's only 2 weeks in. You can make ground up, especially early. Still quite congested this early in the FPL season. Just got to keep making better decisions and hopefully gain some of those points back. But we started Turner in goal instead of Johnston. I think a lot would have started Turner this week. And look, the goal that Forrest conceded was a shot outside the box from distance, into the top corner. So you can't really be upset about that. I think it was a good decision. Just didn't get the clean sheet. Chilwell came off at about the hour mark, which was quite surprising. I sort of fell asleep and didn't catch the second half of that game. But look, the clean sheet was gone, and he's been playing quite high up and left wing really for the first 2 weeks. So you still want to start him most weeks. Clean sheet's just a bonus, but they come into a really good patch of fixtures, Chelsea. So hopefully there's some points there for him. Stupidan's been, look, I did want to take him on at the start of the year. I did say that in pre-season, but he's just shown me and a lot of people why that just should have never been the case, and why his ownership was at ridiculous heights, because he scores an 11-pointer and the clean sheet was gone too. So he's gotten a goal, an assist, some bonus. He's just very, very attacking player, and like Chilwell, playing very high up the pitch. So he was good. Doggy, I had a bit of a decision this week. I just held James. I wasn't going to take a hit to get rid of him again. But Shaw against Spurs, or Doggy at home against United, I went for the home fixture. That's where I sort of sat. And it turned out with the clean sheet, I wasn't expecting that. I think he did get a yellow card, so 5 points there. We'll take that. Need all the points I can get, as I said. The midfield, not great. United boys, another blank, and Arsenal boys as well. But United really frustrating. Probably should have scored, really. Bruno had a wide open header, which would have been a sure assist actually as well, which I didn't have on field. But either way, Bruno really should have scored that. They've been creating some chances. Bruno, I believe, is second or third for midfielders as far as goal involvement goes, but he just hasn't been able to return yet. So look, they get Forest at home this week. They're not going anywhere, at least for this week, and possibly one might go after this, but we'll see. But for now, can't be trading them. Arsenal boys, you already mentioned that. Fulham at home this week again. They cannot go anywhere, and we've still got some good fixtures beyond that as well. Phil Foden, huge. This man, look, really saved me this week. Obviously, couldn't keep up with the Mbommos and the Matomas and Marches of the world, but an assist, 3 bonus points. Really should have had more. Watching that game back, I watched the mini match actually because I was just interested. City, Newcastle. Newcastle really pushing on this year to be up there, and City just dominated, and Phil was absolutely sublime. Like 7 chances created. Haaland, obviously, as the captain, that a lot of you would have had, just fluffed quite, probably 3 or 4 of them really, just didn't connect well at all with a few of his shots that were, to be honest, like pretty regulation. He just didn't even put them on target. So that was quite disappointing. Obviously would have helped a lot with not only captaincy, but Phil's points. Maybe should have had another assist here or there. So, unfortunate, but it looks really good. And we'll speak about him in a sec a bit more. And then João Pedro, he actually came on pretty early with about 35 minutes to go, but just couldn't get into the game. I mean, the game was done. That first 10 minutes after half-time from Brighton was ridiculous, and they put on 3 goals, and the game was pretty much over. So, he will have to go at some point. I will discuss whether that's this week or in future. But it's funny, like he could easily come out and start this week again. That's just going to be the issue with Brighton players. So, we'll get onto how I look now, and we'll head into the defence. So Johnston, we'll field Johnston back on, this week. I think Turner has United away, so you don't really want to be fielding him there. Plus, I've got 2 United attackers, so it doesn't make too much sense. Brentford away, not an easy fixture, but maybe there's some save points there, and if Palace, play quite well and defensively they could get a clean sheet. Which, as a non-Mbamo owner, that I would hope he can do that. Chilwell gets Luton at home, as I said, and I've got Gusto. So I did Reece James to Gusto before his price fall about a day ago. So, had a few options there. Was tossing maybe a 4.5. Rico Henry I would have loved, but he's gone up in price. So he was looking at like a Pinnock or maybe even just a Colwill from the same team. But I opted just to go for Gusto, get all the cash out that I can, which is 1.5. I should actually have updated that because that was my one free transfer, but I am still thinking about possibly using my second, just a second transfer, which obviously would be for a hit, but I do have 1.5 in the bank now, I should say. So, we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, Stupinan at home to West Ham, he's got to be played most weeks. I think there's a couple of tough fixtures coming up, but he can attack, return in any game, so it's going to be hard to bench him. And then I've got Reece Shaw there with Forest at home. I think he looked actually quite good against Spurs. Was unlucky, obviously, not to get that assist. And I think there's obviously their best chance of the year to have a clean sheet. Although I guess Wolves, you could say that too. But Forest aren't overly attacking, so I think Shaw's a pretty good start this week. Into the midfield. And we've got the same guys. Obviously, they're not going anywhere. 2 United boys at home to Forest. Really hoping for a return this week. Holding the faith. Arsenal boys at home to Fulham. They were actually shut down quite well at Selhurst Park. Tyreek Mitchell did quite well on Saka, and Martinelli I thought could have attacked Joel Ward more, especially at right back. Like that seems like a really good option, but they did shut the wings down quite well. Nketiah was causing some problems, but I think that's what their game plan sort of was. So I think against Fulham at home, it's going to be a lot easier, and there's definitely some goals there. And then Phil, Sheffield away, not worried about that fixture at all. I think he's really going to be good for minutes over the next 2 weeks, I want to say. After that, Europe does come into play. But it really is only Bernardo Silva, who we're not sure who could be back fit this week. It's about 6 attackers really to fit into 5 spots. I mean, you could include Cole Palmer as well, but it's sort of Kovacic, but he's not quite what doesn't provide what Gundogan did when he was there. So I don't really see the need to play Kovacic and Rodri against a team like Sheffield and Fulham next week they've got. So I really think Foden, Alvarez, Haaland, Grealish, all these sort of players are really going to start majority games, while De Bruyne is out. And they just, don't have many attackers anymore. They've got a lot of defenders now, but not as many attackers. So I'm really keen on the City attack with these fixtures, and they go for another 4 or 5 game weeks of really, really good fixtures. So very keen to have Phil for the next few weeks, and hopefully there's some points there to catch me up. And then Sol up top is Haaland with the captaincy. I think that's going to be quite common. So it goes to where, what I can do. Do I just roll this team out? As I said, I do, forgive the graphic, have 1.5 in the bank. But to do another transfer this week obviously would be for a hit. So, I have Udogie there on the bench who's got Bournemouth. It is away, so I've opted to... Look, he could still be started over Gusto. I'd probably trust that clean sheet a little bit more, but Udogie obviously can get some attacking returns, so that's a toss-up. But João Pedro sitting there, right, I can go up to Nicholas Jackson, and I could bench probably Gusto, but it does become harder as to who to bench. or I could go to Alvarez, who then I definitely would bench someone like a Gusto. So like if I do this hit and trade João Pedro to a Jackson or an Alvarez, Gusto is probably the one I would bench. And then, it just comes down to, do I even do that at all? Or do I just wait a week, not take a hit, maybe look at an Alvarez against Fulham next week, see how he goes this week? Or do I just be aggressive and take the hit and try and get some points this week? It's quite frustrating. Like I could, I was looking at possibly trading Archer up to another player. Like I could even get a Wissa this week with the right money and pop in the bench boost. But João Pedro's bit... his minutes are not set. We just don't know, so that's a bit risky and probably doesn't look as good of a bench boost as it did. Obviously Turner doesn't have a great fixture, so not going to do that now. It was on the cards maybe a week or two ago, but that doesn't really look likely anymore. So I'll go to my team on Plan FPL, which I is a site I've been using. There's a few out there, obviously FPL.team. But I do like the look of this and have been using it so far this year. So let's, for instance, say I do this transfer, take the hit, and we get someone like an Alvarez. As I said, I'd probably bench Gusto. So team looks like this. Gusto bench doesn't really matter, but it's quite good for this week. Obviously, taking a hit isn't great. 0.3 in the bank, and we can just have a look what it looks like for the future weeks. That's obviously where you want to really take notice. So it's hard, but you probably bench Estupinan here, and then I would look to transfer one of the United boys, whether that's Bruno or Rashford. I'm not totally sure, but you've got triple attack against Fulham for City. Obviously, the two Chelsea guys in defence there against Forest. I would play Udogie against Burnley, and then we've got Johnson in goal. But say it's a Rashford, which mid I go to, it does get a bit difficult. There's just because there is a few options. Like do I get Mbommo in? He'd have Bournemouth this week. That would seem like a good move. That's probably the favourite. Diaby doesn't quite line up with Liverpool away. Either did the Brighton boys. They've got Newcastle United. You probably wouldn't go there. And then as we go further down, we've got Eze, who's dropped in price to 6.4. So it would probably be between Mbommo and Eze. Eze has, from next week onwards, Wolves, Villa away, Fulham at home, but then a couple of tricky ones, United away, Newcastle away, in between Forest, and then, his long-term fixtures are quite nice, Palace, so, I do like having Johnson there. But Mbommo would probably be in the lead there with his fixtures, Palace. You'd be getting him in for Bournemouth. Newcastle straight after, doesn't feel great, but then Everton and Forest. So, that's what I'd do. And then if we look maybe ahead just to one more game week, we get, maybe you play Turner here in goal, Burnley at home. Chelsea boys still have good fixtures, of course. We know how good they are for a while. Udogie Sheffield at home, he would stay on the field. You probably bring Estupinan back on for maybe Mbommo, but then, playing, you're sort of contradicting there, but Arsenal, really good fixture. West Ham away, not the greatest fixture in the world, but still good for someone like City. So it doesn't look too bad. I could probably roll that week, and then we're probably getting too far ahead here going to game week 6. But that's what I'm tossing up really. So my team's sort of set this week. I could probably roll it out and not take a hit, play a bit more defensive. As I've already played aggressive the first 2 weeks. Well, not aggressive. I've had injuries, but one of those transfers back or both would be really handy right now. I'd do. I wouldn't have to take a hit, and it'd be quite easy just to do those transfers. But look, something I'm tossing up. That's how the team would look. I could obviously, as I said, do Jackson instead, which would get a bit of some attack for the Forest fixture. Ignore those price transfers because that's having Alvarez coming in and then out again. Do I do that? That's another option. I've already got some City attack. Maybe it's a bit more balanced, and Chelsea do have Luton, Forest, Bournemouth, and it goes on. So that's my toss-up. Do I just sit, or if I do the transfer, do I go Alvarez or do I go Jackson? That's probably where I'm sitting. And then next week I'll probably look at one of those United boys out for most likely Mbommo, but Eze poses an option there as well. So let me know what you think, what your dilemmas are this game week. Hopefully I can start to bounce back, get some points, get up the rankings because, don't want another pretty bad season like last year. But hey, Arsenal sitting pretty, two from two. Not looking amazing. I won't hold back from that as we have in the past, and especially last season. But a few new players, a couple of injuries, just settling into a new system as well that Arteta seems to want to keep playing Partey at right back, and Gabriel's out of the team. So I know a lot of people watching would be frustrated by that, but it seems to be working. These teams are playing sitting back quite a bit. That extra midfielder does allow us to break down teams a bit easier, because that was a struggle sometimes last year with teams just that would come to the Emirates and just sit back the whole game, and we'd struggle to break them down and have to nick a winner 1-0, 2-1, and we probably rode our luck doing that last season. So I see his ideas that just want to make it easier on ourselves to create more chances and just put games away earlier, because we played a lot of late last minute winner games, and just you can't rely on that week in, week out. So there's a reason behind it, as much as it's frustrating, and someone like Gabriel not getting into a starting 11 is crazy, because he's a really, really good player. So we'll see how we go this week. Hopefully, it's another early deadline, so we might get a Chelsea team if you're up. But good luck for the game week. Let me know some transfer dilemmas that you've got, and I'll answer every comment this week. I didn't put a tweet out for some questions, so any comment you make, I'll be sure to answer it before the deadline. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you're going better than me, and we'll see you next week. Cheers. Got the mojo deals, we been tripping like 80. Pulling out the coupe at the light.